Okay, now we'll try to finish up AGP and then we'll go for an additional slot, that is ISS slot and PCI slot, and if time permits we'll go for PCI Express slot. Let us say now first what is AGP, that is Accelerated Graphics Port. Now somewhere in 1996 this port actually developed, and this came with the motherboard come up with this particular. No, normally we say port rather than saying a bus. It is not a bus. Basically, it is, though it looks like a bus, it is very similar to your PCI bus, which we have to see. But it is normally called as a port, that is accelerated graphic port. Why basically it is invented? Most of the times, if you want to process certain graphics or like animation or video, where a lot of multimedias are involved, and if you want it, like if you want to go for gaming and if you wanted to have a very fast response, or if you want to convert any 2D picture into 3D picture, then in that case lot of mathematical computation is required to be done, and for that data has to be moved from hard disk to RAM, and a RAM to CPU, and CPU to again some processing unit. So here there is a lot of pressure, or I'll say burden, onto your processor, and to avoid this particular burden and to have a easier and very fast response for video processing or a gaming or animation, this particular port is developed. So this somewhere in 1996. And so if you wanted to identify this port, it is very easy. You'll find this gray color, separate color, a slot will be there onto your motherboard, that is normally called as an AGP port or AGP. Sometimes you say bus, but theoretically we should not say it is a bus. Is it actually a port? Sometimes you'll find a very dark chocolate colored, that is normally called as an AGP port. Okay, so here this picture shows how exactly this port is, and where how to locate this particular port on a motherboard. Why it is required? As I said earlier, in 1996 onwards, this particular port is available on specific motherboard, and this is only slot is available on the motherboard, but you have to buy a AGP card separately, which will fit onto this particular port, and this port will have some special features. Let us will see some of the details related to this. So as we say, modern computers rely heavily on graphics. Without graphics, you cannot do. Why? Simply because once this Windows came into picture, everything is graphic based. So you have to handle a lot of graphics, and for that you should have a very powerful CPU, or CPU should have this capability. Now in somewhere 1996, this particular AGP is developed. This card is actually inserted into your graphics bus or a graphics slot or AGP slot. So AGP is a modification in the PCI bus designed specifically to facilitate the streaming video and real-time rendering. That means why AGP is developed, it is basically developed for streaming video and a real-time rendering. Rendering is a process where 2D 2D picture is converted into 3D pictures. So that for this purpose, this AGP is developed. Actually, it has got one specific graphic processing unit is there. That is, we normally say GPU. That GPU is on separate processor, and that is available onto that particular card. While AGP is based on the PCI bus, it is often referred to as AGP bus. Okay, it is not actually, as I said, it is not a bus system. It is very similar to PCI bus, but not called as an bus, but it is port. This is simply because AGP is a point-to-point connection. In fact, you will find AGP is directly connected to your memory. Okay, there is no data transfer from memory to CPU, then CPU to AGP. In fact, you will find there is a direct connection between AGP to system memory, so that it can automatically, it can very, you can say effectively use the system memory. That is, GPU can use effectively system memory, and it can process or it can make this particular operation faster, because for processing graphics, GPU is taking care, and that data is directly available from memory to GPU instead of going through the CPU. So that is, in other words, there is no stops between the path. म्हणजे ह्या बसवरती कोणताही स्टॉप नाहीये. डायरेक्ट सिस्टीम मेमरी पासून जीपीयू पर्यंत त्या एकमेकाला ट्रॅकनी कनेक्ट केलेल्या आहेत. आणि there is a direct connection, no device between these two, that is system memory and AGP. That is why the processing becomes very fast. AGP provides two major enhancements over PCI. Now we have to see actually PCI, that is a peripheral component interconnect. That is also a bus system. It is basically a much better system, but it is in competition with the AGP. So AGP is somewhat better than PCI. In fact, nowadays we also have, later on when I'll see PCI Express, at that time we'll come to know that even AGP can be removed, because PCI Express is become so faster now. Even very few machine demand for AGP nowadays, unless and until you want to go for gaming or maybe animation. Otherwise, in today's computers, you don't require AGP cards for most of the graphical processing. So there are two advantages: direct access to system memory, and it has a faster performance compared with PCI. Anyway, I am going to cover PCI after AGP and ISA. AGP based graphic cards can directly access system memory through the AGP bus at a full speed, that we have seen. And AGP stores a texture maps only one. What is this texture maps actually? This is actually a video data of any 2D picture. So that 2D picture is automatically stored onto your AGP, and with this particular 2D picture, it can directly render, or it can calculate its position, and it can convert this 2D picture into 3D picture by using mathematical calculations. So AGP ultimately saves the RAM. AGP also improves the performance of storing texture maps by allowing your operating system to designate RAM for use by the graphic cards on the fly. थोडक्यात काय होत आहे की AGP ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीम, AGP मुळे ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टीमला ती रॅम प्रॉपरली वापरणं शक्य होतं, आणि त्या रॅम मध्ये ते टेक्स्चर इमेजेस ते स्टोअर करू शकतात. So this type of memory, that is also called as a AGP memory. म्हणजे थोडक्यात रॅमच्या मध्येच ती AGP मेमरी असते. There are two memories available. म्हणजे तुमचं एक प्रोसेसर पण असतो, त्याला आपण ग्राफिक्स प्रोसेसिंग युनिट म्हणतो, GPU, जे AGP कार्ड वरती असतं. त्याचप्रमाणे AGP ची मेमरी पण वेगळी असते, आणि AGP आणि AGP कार्ड म्हणजे AGP CPU सिस्टीमची मेमरी पण वापरू शकतो, ॲज वेल एज त्याला स्वतःची पण मेमरी असते. Ultimately, it has got a lot of memory of its own, as well as it, with the help of operating system, it can also use some of the memory of a system memory. So it has got a larger RAM for any graphics processing. Now, what are the different AGP techniques to achieve faster performance? AGP bus is 32-bit bus. Nowadays, it is also available with 64-bit bus. Now this 64 megahertz speed was earlier in 2000, but now this speed is drastically now increased with the 64-bit AGP. Now there is no other devices on the AGP bus, as that is why we can say the graphic card does not have to share the bus. AGP uses pipelining to increase the speed. You already know the concept of pipelining. That is, we normally use in the microprocessor. That means so we know that while one instruction is being executed, you will find that the next instruction is already fetched and decoded. So this fetch, decode, and execution, these three operations are one after the another. That means while one instruction is already executing, another instruction is in pipeline, or next instruction is pipeline. That is called as a pipelining concept, and this is actually used in AGP. So here, as we said, 3D graphics in AGP, normally we stored every image as a texture image. Okay, that is this texture image, that is normally a 2D image. It is wrapped up here, and this what are the parameters of 2D images? These are dictated by the graphics card, and it will automatically convert that 2D image appearance into 3D 3D picture. So this particular concept is you can very well understood by using these two diagrams. Let us say if you don't have a AGP card. Okay, then in that case, what you will require in that if you don't have a AGP card, if you just have a PCI card, that is peripheral component interconnect, then in that case, any graphics has to be loaded from disk drive. From disk drive, it will go. See, this is disk drive. From this disk drive, it will directly go to system memory. From system memory, this will copied into a CPU. And after processing through this chipset graphic chip, it will go to the frame buffer. That means this is not as system memory is not directly connected with the frame buffer, so it will take certain time to display or it will take certain time to process because everything has to go through the CPU. So that takes more time. That is in case of PCI slots. But if you have a AGP slots, then in that case what will happen, because of AGP slot, any data from this disk drive that will be directly loaded into your system memory. Okay, that can be done through your PCI slot. Once everything come into your PC system memory, as system memory is directly connected to your graphic chip. See, through this chipset you will find this is directly connected to your graphic chip. As this is directly connected to the graphic chip, so it is not going through the CPU. It is directly connected with the graphic chip or buffer display. That is why this graphic processing becomes very fast. So all textures map, these are loaded from hard disk to memory. From memory, it is directly goes to the your frame buffer. Where GPU has a capability to understand these text images or textures, and from this texture it automatically converts the pictures into 3D pictures, and this is directly given to your frame buffer, which is ultimately given to your display. So this way your operation of any animation or a video processing or what we called as a gaming, where a lot of graphics activities are involved, you should go for AGP. Now at the end, I will, if somebody asks me, sir, is there AGP is required on your machine? If you have a i3, i5 or i7 machines like what we have today, then in that case, you will find you normally have a PCI Express bus, which is sufficiently faster or it is relatively 10 times faster than actual PCI bus. So that bus becomes so fast, even normal CPU or you can have this processing possible because now you don't have a single core CPU, we have a multi-core CPU. And that is why this mathematical computation and processing and memory and transfer of data becomes relatively fast. That is why you don't exactly require to have a AGP. But somebody is interested in gaming only, in animation only, or producing a very high quality picture, that is processing what we call as a certain effects, what we normally see in the today's movie. If that type of pictures or effects you wish to process or render, then in that case, AGP card will be essential on your motherboard to process those type of things. Otherwise, for normal working, or a reasonably moderate graphics work, nowadays you don't need AGP. But it was certainly a good improvement on the part of Intel. Why I say on the part of Intel? Because at that time, Apple systems were there, Mac systems, and they were very strong. And today also, for graphic processing, Mac systems are very strong compared to your Intel processors. And for that, in somewhere 1996, to overcome this particular problem and to be in competition with your Mac system, they have developed this AGP slot and for graphics processing somewhere in 1996. But that tradition or that trade continues till 2020. So that is the importance of what I will say about AGP card. Okay, so here difference between PCI and AGP that we'll see when we when we talk about the PCI, there will be certain point in talking this particular concept. So here, now I'll go for this particular. So can you see now? Bus. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Now
sir.
we'll go. Now we'll see for now after
Yes, sir.
finishing this AGP. Let's go for what is the concept of bus. You already know what is bus. Basically, bus we normally say it is a group of wires which takes data from one point to the another. So normally we use a bus to connect two devices so that data transfer from one point is possible into another point. Okay, now for data transmission, there whenever the motherboard develop and whenever the motherboard during development of the motherboard, this is a crucial point because you have to transfer the data between the devices as well as you have to also transfer the data out of your CPU. For that you should have certain connection points. For connecting certain cards or automatic connection, this concept of bus was developed. So if you see this concept of bus, now what is, now hope you understand now what is bus. A bus connects all the internal computer components to the CPU and main memory. That means if you have any other components and if they wanted to use a CPU power or a data to be transmitted from that component to CPU or from CPU to memory, then you'll find there will be a lot of tracks which are actually connected. If you really see any motherboard, normally nowadays motherboard is multi-layered motherboard. You'll find there is a lot of tracks behind below the motherboard which actually has a copper tracks which actually connects the different points from one. So if you carefully observe now, anyway, next after finishing this particular chapter, I'm going to give certain exercises or maybe assignments, and that time you have to search something that I'll give you later on. But let us see today now what is, hope you understand now what is bus. Every bus has a clock speed measured in megahertz. That means you have to transfer the data. So transferring the data, always data transferred with the synchronously or asynchronously with the clock. Okay, so that clock speed will be always measured in megahertz. Now what bus does, bus allows data to be transferred faster, which makes application run faster. Faster the bus, faster will be data transmission and faster will be your, you will be in a position to run your applications. Now if you see on PCs, the old ISA bus is being replaced by faster buses such as PCI. Okay, now today we are going to see a very outdated bus, that is ISA bus. Though I say outdated, but it was very popular till from 8085, our first PC that is developed in 1980 to 1995 almost. This bus was popular and that is why we study this particular ISA bus. So now this is a picture of ISA bus. You will find Whirler slot is a 8-bit ISA slot, and if you see downbeat, that is a 16-bit ISA slot. Okay, that is, now it is again a 16-bit. You can say ISA slot. There are two slots, ISA and ISA. Okay, ISA means Industry Standard Association. So this is the one year organization. They have developed this particular bus slot, and that the why this is name given as ISA slot. Now right hand side there is a one expansion card. This expansion card can be fit into this 8-bit ISA slot. Okay, so normally if you see the old motherboard, you'll find such a cards are placed where you want to have certain additional facility to be given, maybe for data transmission. If you want to connect a one Ethernet card, that is for LAN card can also be fit onto it. If you have some modem, that modem card can be inserted into this, or if you have certain typical VGA card, color VGA or super VGA, that card is also inserted over here. So for putting these particular cards or giving this facility, you don't have to do anything. You just have to take this particular card and insert into this particular slot, and that automatically, of course, there are a lot of problems with the ISA that we'll discuss next in next few slides. As I said, ISA developed in somewhere 1992. It appeared on the first as a bus on the first PC. This is 8-bit ISA bus. It was running at about 4.77 megahertz, the same speed as Intel 8088. As you know, first 8088 Intel processor was used in first PC developed by IBM. Anyway, after these particular buses, I am going to take a review of all the Intel family of processors, where we'll study right from 4004, which was developed in 1971, and what is now Core i9 that is being available now 2020. So all history of family processors in 2 lectures we will cover as a study of processors. Maybe after 2 lectures or after finishing this bus. As I said, ISA bus is extremely slow by today's standard, and hence it is not useful for any graphical operating system like Windows. But still, up till 1984 or up to 1990, this 80286 was developed, and it was using 16-bit. So for this 16-bit, actually it uses this ISA bus, which is coming with two versions, 6 megahertz and 8 megahertz, and it is actually using 16 bits. So if you have 16 bits with address line 24, so you can with 24 address lines, you can certainly address 16 MB of memory. As you know, memory addressing, if there is 20 lines address bus, your memory is 1 MB. Okay, now this is a pinout diagram of ISA bus. Now if you see, there are two sides of this ISA bus. One you can say it is a component side, another you can say it is a solder side. On component side, the pins are named from A1 to A31, and you will find from other side, that is from solder side, the B1 to B31. These are the pinout diagrams. So total there are 62 pins for this ISA bus. Now these are certain settings of this particular ISA bus. So there will be what you can say total original 8-bit, and another I'll find that there will be another 16 bits. So there overall there can be a 24 bits or 24 address line, so that it can address up to 16 MB of memory. But for proper working of this, there are a lot of problems with this. You have to do the jumper setting, you have to properly set the interrupts, you have to set the interrupt IRQ lines, and so these are the problems with this. Though we say designing was not so easy, this is another perspective of 16-bit ISA bus and 8-bit XT bus. That means how it was XT bus, how it was working 8-bit, and how this 16-bit ISA was working. Now, as I said, it has got, compared with today's bus, it has got a lot of problems, or we'll say disadvantages. These are something like this bus is slow, hardly work up to 8 megahertz. It is bulky. As you see, the size of this is very large, so it takes more space on your motherboard. It is hard to use. That means if you want to configure this ISA bus, it is very time consuming, or we'll say cumbersome, because you have to set certain switches, you have to set jumpers, IO addresses, interrupts, clock setting. All this is you required to manually you have to do by with your motherboard, and this facility is normally available on the ISA expansion cards, but that manual setting you have to do as per your motherboard. So that is why it was very difficult to configure. Now today you don't have to bother about this configuration, because you just are inserting a cards and you are just putting another card, because there is a plug and play capability is available with the PCI slots and always with the USB peripherals. So what if you want to connect anything, if you are connecting to PCR USB, you don't have to configure anything, because these are the plug and play devices. I mean, you just insert, all things will be automatically configured by your motherboard during startup through your BIOS settings, and it will start running. Limited number of interrupts. Like simple example of PNP, as you know, if you just have a mouse and if you put your USB into connect your uh, computer or a desktop, automatically it recognizes the device and it starts functioning. That is called as a PNP. It recognizes the driver. If driver is not there, like you have a pen drive. If you put a pen drive, it automatically recognizes. First time, if a driver is not available, it automatically uh, takes that particular driver, installs that particular driver, and your pen drive starts running. This type of devices is normally called as an plug and play devices. So PSI and USB peripherals are all plug and play devices. So that removes all the headache or tension of a user compared with your ISA slots or ISA buses. There are number of limited interrupts, no central registry. Then ISA bus is limited to 32 bits. So if you have a 2 raised to 32, so it can address up to 4 gigabytes. As ISA was only 16 bits, so it was limited to only 16 MB of RAM. You cannot use, though you have a larger memory, you cannot use more than 16 MB of RAM by using ISA slots. So now here you can also use this ISA for transmission of 32 bits, but here you'll have to use two clocks for transmission 16 bit and then 16 bit, and in between processor has to wait. That is called as the wait state, and this way some slow operations were done. But as I said, PCI card has a plug and play capability that has removed all the limitations, and in fact it is being from 1990 to 94 onwards. This ISA bus or even extended ISA bus also write off from your market. I mean, this is not normally available now on your motherboard. When this will be made available, if you have a very, say, one particular card which will have to be used, as this is not available in PCI or a PCI Express category, then in that case, if you have to use this particular card in today's motherboard, then you'll have to specifically design that motherboard which will accommodate ISA slot, and that using this ISA slot you can use that old required card into your machine. Then see, this is the way, as I said, this is the slots, this is the ISA slot, and this is the card. Both way you can insert. One way, if you insert, this will act as a 16-bit ISA card. Other side, if you insert, this will act as an 32-bit ISA card. Okay, so this is facility is there. As we said, this ISA is 32-bit card, so that is why it has got backward compatibility. I mean, ISA slot. If you have a ISA slot, you can fit your uh, ISA cards into ISA slot. That is why we say it has got backward compatibility. So here, as I said, ISA bit is 32 bits. It has a bus mastering support, so it can access up to 4 GB RAM. Unlike MCA, so this is called as a multi-channel computer architecture. So here, this is MCA architecture. So this was proprietary, and that is why it was costing highly. That is why this was developed earlier to ISA, but again that has become outdated. Very few manufacturers have used MCA card. They rely on ISA card for development of their systems. Now, if you see the comparison between ISA bus and the 16-bit bus, then you will find that bus width is 8-bit, 16-bit. Then 8-bit ISA, 8-bit, 16-bit ISA. Number of pins, earlier ISA had 62, now ISA has 98 pins. Then if you say voltages, for this bus, voltages required is very large, plus 5 volt to minus 5 volt. And if you say about PCI Express, that will require hardly 1.2 volts, only 1 volt, that too also 1.2. Here you can see how many voltages you require to give this particular. That means here is bulky, there are a lot of problems in installation. That is why that is being phased out now, but still these are the frequencies available here. So now, as I think today we'll stop over here, and from tomorrow onwards freshly we'll start with the PCI Express, PCI bus. Actually you will find on this particular slide there is a PCI slot just at the bottom, white slots, which are normally peripheral component interconnect slots, just above AGP slots. And that too above, there are advanced PCI slots like PCI Express X1, X4, X8, X16. These are the slots available, which you will find in today's motherboard. So all these detailed information about PCI and PCI Express will continue maybe on Thursday at 11:30. Okay, so today we'll stop here. If you have got any questions, you can ask your questions now. Okay, go ahead if you have got any questions. Hello, unmute your microphone and ask the question. At least are you in touch with me? See, there are 47 students now. I'll just mark the attendance. Okay, I have marked the attendance, but see, there are many. If you can you see my desktop? Hope you can see my desktop, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
See how many unknown users are there? So this is my request to you that whenever you are connecting, see these are the students who understand something. I have already put you on your WhatsApp that if you want to join, you join with your enrollment number. So that becomes easy for me to take your attendance. Then what about this? Okay, for these names, from this name I can identify their enrollment numbers. Probably this could be a better way. You just put your enrollment number first and then put your name, and they put your first name only. Okay, like this is our Akshada. You put only your name. You do not require to put entire names. But from tomorrow onwards, whenever you are joining with the system, you put your enrollment number at least, and if you wish, you can put your name further so that I can identify. Now, otherwise, these are, from my point of view, all unknown users are at. Okay, go ahead. Still, there are only 47 students. I don't know about others. But for that enrollment number, I'm going to, those who are enrollment number, that only I will see that these are present. And you know, I have told already in the very first lecture, if you are sincere, if you are regular, if your attendance is sufficient, then you can only claim certain term works marks from me. Otherwise, about sincerity, regularity, whatever the 10, 15 marks, you are going to lose those particular marks. That's very sure. Go ahead with your questions. आहे का AGP वरती किंवा इजा वरती काही क्वेश्चन्स आहे, स्लॉट्स वरती आहे, बसेस वरती किंवा मे बी अर्लियर टॉपिक वरती काही वाचायला सुरुवात केली असेल तर? नाही क्वेश्चन, भूक लागली सगळ्यांना? हॅलो, मग थांबायचं इथेच, कोणाला काही प्रश्न नसेल तर?
हो सर.
ठीक आहे, व्हेरी गुड. म्हणजे सगळ्यांना समजते की कोणाला समजत नाहीये मी सांगितलंय? प्रश्न नाही याचा अर्थ वाचायला सुरुवात केलेली नाही. तर वाचत नाही का? गुगल क्लासरूम मध्ये बघितलं का जाऊन एकदा काय काय आहे तुमच्यासाठी ठेवलेलं?
हो सर.
का मला वाटतं एखादी क्विज अगदी ऍक्सिडेंटली एखादी क्विज रन करावी, एखादा लेक्चर घेण्याऐवजी एखादा तुम्हाला गुगलचा फॉर्म देऊन टाकावा क्विज मध्ये उत्तर देण्यासाठी. जरा थोडं वाचा, मी जेवढं टाकलेलं आहे तेवढं पीपीटी बघा, आणि तुमचे जे काही व्हिडिओ टाकलेले आहेत त्या व्हिडिओचे चांगले लिंक्स आहेत, तुमचं जनरल नॉलेज त्यांनी चांगलं वाढू शकेल आणि या सब्जेक्टचा इंटरेस्ट तुमचा डेव्हलप होऊ शकेल. ओके, सो गो फॉर दिस. आणि महत्वाचं, तुमचे प्रोजेक्टचा ग्रुप आणि हे गुगल शीट वरती अपडेट करून मला पाठवा, आणि ते तुम्हाला 5 ऑगस्टच्या आत पाठवायचं, एवढं लक्षात ठेवा. ठीक आहे? स्टॉप हिअर.
थँक्यू सर. थँक्यू सर.